So welcome back to another exciting edition of the IED Countermeasures training video series. And this one is going to be kind of short. We're going to talk about portable X-ray system camera sliders, and there's a couple of vendors that actually provide this product. And if you're one of those people that got a big checkbook and you got a huge budget, you could potentially purchase one of these. So I'm going to give you the John Howell assessment of fucking camera sliders, okay, and show you what they are. So here's basically what a slider system is, okay. To give you an example, there's a couple vendors that make these. It's this one right here. What it does is it takes the panel and you're sitting at your software and it moves it from one position to the next position, to the next position, to the next position. So you don't have to go back down range and move your panel again and again and again and increase time on target. So the concept behind the system is pretty good. The reality is when you look at this image, and you've been through any of my videos, and we talk about a ground stand, where the fuck does your generator need to be? It needs to be on the fucking ground, okay? So in this scenario, you can see that they've elevated the generator, and there's a reason they do that. So when you think about multiple scans of an object, okay, that you need to take multiple scans and then you got to go into your stitching software and stitch all this shit together. If you've done this and you're versed in it, when you start looking at these images, you start going, what the fuck is going on here? And that's exactly what I did. So if I have my panel here and my X-ray generator, and if you look at how they're doing it, it looks like they're centering it on the center portion of the slider itself. So it's not centered on the panel. It's not at the ground level, which we already know is going to increase massive fucking lower edge cutoffs. Okay, that's the first problem with this deployment. Now the next problem is if my panel's here and my generator's here, the orientation of that image and how it shows up on your screen, and as we move to here, here, and here, that is a fucking nightmare to stitch. I don't know if you know that. And a lot of times your automatic stitching software will have a lot of problems trying to stitch that because it's just not laid out in a way, and it's going to change the configuration a lot because of the angle of where your generator is and associated to your panel. So here's one. When I saw this one, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. All right, so this is one that one of the vendors put out, and you Air Force guys who probably bought a fucking slider probably saw this and go, I want that, and weren't smart enough to fucking look at that image and go, that's some serious bullshit right here. So what I want you to look at is they supposedly used a slider to X-ray this entire fucking motorcycle, right? Sure, okay? I have done shit tons of mosaic shots of like all kinds of shit. And it ain't never fucking turned out like that. Never in a million fucking years, okay? It is a fucking nightmare to do this. But if you look very closely at the picture, look at these scans here and here. You see that nice circle shit going on right there? So do you think they had their fucking camera centered on the slider? Or was the camera centered on the actual goddamn panel? So that's what they did in this. They took all those shots, but each one they centered the goddamn fucking X-ray generator on the actual panel to be able to get that type of image. And that's how you have to fucking do it if you really want to come up with an image that looks like this that can be stitched to this level. This, if you know anything about X-ray, as soon as you see this shit, you need to be calling bullshit, okay? I would make these motherfuckers show up to my shop, put my goddamn motorcycle out there and say, let me see you do this. And then watch them. And it ain't gonna fucking happen. Not with that fucking generator centered on the slider, okay? You want an image like this, each shot needs to be centered on the fucking panel itself, okay? Period. Now again, I noted the other problem with this is that because when you raise the generator, massive lower edge cutoff, and these systems are extremely expensive, okay? So, I mean, is it worth it? Well, if you got the checkbook and you want to use it, you need to get fucking very familiar with it. You need to use it and figure out what is going to work best, and especially when you go to stitching it, is it actually going to fucking stitch when you're centered on something like that and you're doing multiple scans, okay? So there's a lot more to that than just what you see in the pictures. But you got to remember, these companies are just marketing, and it's my opinion that they know how stupid we are about X-ray. They're able to do shit like this, and a lot of people will buy it, like the Air Force just did. All right, and I don't want to lug that fucking thing downrange. And in my personal opinion, just buy a big ass panel, a big fucking panel, which is way fucking cheaper than this fucking thing. And you can do this in one shot. The line scan panels are fucking huge. They work great. I don't need that fucking slider Hooby-Doo, okay, to do that. All right? So if you want a slider and you got a big checkbook, have at it. But make sure you understand by using it. Do a bunch of fucking training on it and really understand how those images are going to come out, and especially when you start trying to stitch them, all right? And seriously, if you want to buy one, tell these motherfuckers to show up and do this on site, and you watch them do it. They'll probably be there like 3 fucking days trying to recreate this fucking image.